next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one thinks gun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force of bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one thinks gun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Hey, welcome to the show. This is Game On. Excuse me, I got my shows mixed up. This is Game On, and this is UCY.TV, the best little radio network on the internet. And everybody that listens to it's in the chat ought to give themselves a thumbs up. It doesn't get much better than this station. Anyways, I missed the show Sunday, and I apologize for that. But I haven't been out of town in a long time, and I had an opportunity. I thought we were going to originally go Saturday, and I thought, well, if we went Saturday, we'd be back to do the show Saturday night, but that didn't work out, so it got moved to Sunday, and tried hard to get somebody to take the show over on Sunday. I guess a little bit short notice, but had some good conversations with some people, and but we didn't get somebody to cover the show, so thanks, Jules, for plugging something in. And so anyways, yeah, I went with my brother-in-law down to Mopar Fest in New Hamburg, Ontario, and there was about, 1,600 Mopars in there. Good band playing, lots of stuff to look at and whatnot. And then we got to stop at my brother-in-law's stepson's place, and we visited with the folks there, and it was the little one's 10th birthday, so we got some birthday cake and that on the way back, and it was just generally a good laid-back day. I enjoyed that. So something that happened though at the Mopar Fest that really freaked me out. Because people are always talking about sheeple and that, and I try not to go there as much as possible. I try to give people credit. Maybe sometimes I say things I shouldn't. But something happened down there that still is freaking me out. And it's the lack of ability of people to hear anything, or they've got like a really short memory span or something, or they just don't pay any attention to anything. I don't know what it is. But that was the 36th Mopar Fest that was put on down there, 36 years. So they had a barrel out there, a drum out there, and they had a young kid picking 10 names who were going to get 10 keys, and one of the keys would open or start the car they were giving away, which was a 67 Barracuda Fastback. And so in between, when this kid's picking names and that, the guy that started this 36 years ago is on the stage, And he says, we still have some prizes left. So, if anybody, first 5 people come up the stage to tell me how many years Mopar Fest has been running, you get a prize. Well, nobody seemed to know it was 36 years. The guy was just on the stage saying 36 years, but nobody seemed to get it. 12 years, 22 years, 11 years, 40 years. I mean, it was ridiculous. So anyways, finally you give them some prize, and they kind of backed off a little bit. And so they continued on with the calling the names for the keys. And then he kind of went back and said, and over these 36 years, we've given away 50 cars. That's a lot of cars to give away in 36 years. 50 cars is a lot of cars to give away in 36 years. And we still have some prizes left over. So the first 5 that come to the stage can tell me how many cars we've given away since Mopar Fest started. You get a little prize. I swear to God, there was 20 of them. Weren't even close. It was ridiculous. 14 cars? No. 36? Now that one, at least after they didn't get how many years it's been running, now he's just figuring that 36 is the number, even though the guy had mentioned a couple times the number was 50. And it just got more ridiculous. And I'm watching these people down the stage, and my mouth must have been hanging open. I'm just going, my God. And then the guy, that started this thing, he's on the stage, and people are going like 36, no, higher, 70, lower. And then somebody finally said 49. I'm thinking, God, at least they're getting close. And he's going higher. Next number in, 58, lower. And I still ain't over that. I'm still not over that. I thought, man, what have they done to people? How can they be that dense? Is it possible? And I don't want to blame it just because they're Chrysler fans. I don't want to do that. That really pretty much freaked me out. So, but other than that, we had a great time. And my brother-in-law, he didn't win the car, but we got to ride down in his Dodge Warlock, and his brother was down there with his Challenger RT, so that was all right. Got to see some people and have few laughs and that, take a few pictures. So it was good. Now, today, my wife was home, and we were cleaning some stuff out, and we had her parents in the front house here. That's why we bought the place, and to keep them out of the home, but they've passed away since. And so we were going through some stuff, and she had some old deeds and mortgage papers and that her dad had, and it was really amazing. We pulled out one mortgage paper in 1871. You buy 100 acres here for $400. Not bad. 1967, her dad bought a 100-acre farm for only $11,000. Today, with the Chinese and that coming in, 100 acres of bare land is going for $500,000 up. And if you've got some decent buildings on it, well, you're looking at $1 million and up. So, they're running, and this is a big complaint we have up in here, the family farmers, and they eradicated a ton of them in the late 70s when they drove the interest rates way through the roof, indebted the farmers up to the eyeballs, telling them they had to buy new equipment, bigger equipment, faster equipment in order to compete and buy up more farmland. And then they just cranked the interest rates through the ceiling and bankrupted a horde of them. And the ones that are left are indebted pretty heavily, and there's the young people who would like to continue farming can't figure out how they can possibly do it. So now the offshore money's coming in, of which there's no shortage of, to buy up the last of the farms. So that's kind of where we're at in that stuff, and so we found a couple of bags of comic books, and I believe these are Bruce's, her brother's. And, I was rooting through some of them. I never really read comics much. But I come across this Mad magazine from 1975. Now that's basically the time frame of the oil crisis, and that's the time. That's 3 years after the first conference on human environment, and 5 years after the first Earth Day. And in here they have some comics. If I can dig them out here somewhere. People must have had an easy sense of humor back then, because a lot of this writing ain't worth a damn. But anyways, this is from 1975, and this is an issue of Mad Magazine from the Bugs Funny department part of the magazine. And it says, if you think we humans are the only ones who suffer from the problems of today, dig these headlines of the insect world. I'm just talking propaganda here, and how when we say media is the purveyor of propaganda. This is a classic case of it. This is from 1975. Reoccurring deadly smog threatens gnat population. Surprise termite demolition activates urban renewal program. Staggered lunch hours implemented at leading industrial beehive complexes. Red and black integrated high-rise co-op anthills open in Greenvale. Decoy fly nabs killer of hundreds in high crime pond area. I'm not sure what that's about. Sudden cold wave causes partial firefly blackout. And local citizens outraged by outdoor cricket rock concert. So we have a bunch of crickets carrying on there, chirping away. And local bugs warned of unmarked speed traps. And we all know what those are, but this is basically spider's web. Ground smog causes dragonfly stack up and takeoff delays. Now, I'm sure back in 75, I don't know who, it would depend who was reading this, or they found this funny, or they were going, oh my God, what have we done to the planet? Because the propaganda back in those days was extremely heavy. It was shortly thereafter that they backed off a little bit until they'd finished buying up all of the magazines and all the media who were still saying, some reality about this stuff. Now, I don't have the magazine. There's a company from Louisiana that was up at the Mopar Fest, and they have the last independent Mopar magazine, and Kathy Hamilton sent me the history of these guys. And it's quite an interesting history. But they, in their history, they said like every year somebody shows up at their offices with a suitcase full of money, wanting to buy the magazine. Now, there's a reason for that, and that is because because they're independent, they can say what they want to say, and they do. And every month in the magazine, they lay heavy on the UN propaganda, on Agenda 21, on climate change. And there was an article in there this month, but I forgot the thing in Bruce's truck. Forgot the magazine in Bruce's truck. So power to those guys, because I tried to put a magazine out one time and I just couldn't pull the advertisers. Now they have a specialty advertising market, so they're okay. But what I found when I went out to sell the ads was that the companies were fearful, and I was doing a very soft sell to try to get some knowledge to people about what's going on. So I wasn't this hardcore bullhorn in your face kind of editorials. It was very, very low key, just to try to start them thinking a little bit. But even at that level, the advertisers that I required were fearful of the government coming down on them. and that's unfortunate. So that didn't fly. But on the back cover of this 1975 Mad Magazine, I'm going to scan this puppy and put it up on the internet. We have a picture of the globe, and in the top of the globe is a sign stuck in the globe here, a picket sign. And what it says on that sign is occupancy by more than 3 billion people is dangerous and should be unlawful. Now they're telling us there's 7 billion now, but we don't know because we can't trust their data. But that's from way back in 1975. Now, in 1972, they did that movie. Rockefeller and all that crew, Morris Strong and the crew, did a movie, and I've brought this up before, but it all ties in here, which is Survival of Spaceship Earth. And in that movie, Margaret Mead, who's an anthropologist, nutcase, but anthropologist nonetheless, but a complete nut bar, as everybody in that movie's a nut bar. At that time, they were saying the population was 5 billion. And that the globe was completely out of balance, and that we had to do something about it. Well, that was in 72, and in 75 we have this sign here saying occupancy by more than 3 billion people is dangerous and should be unlawful. So I give you kind of an idea of the propaganda machine that's been going on forever, and it's even worse in the schools. But this is not about environment, people, and it never has been. It has always been about population and the need to bring it down dramatically. And so they're talking 3 billion on the back of that Mad Magazine, but anybody that studied this, their numbers are running, their sustainable planet numbers or for people are generally between 500 million and 2 billion, somewhere in that vicinity, depend on who wrote the article. So we're at war, and we got to get in these people's faces. Now, I'm pleased as punch. I miss things work out, eventually. I didn't do the show on Sunday, but when I got back, a friend of mine had sent me this video. Now, I don't watch a lot of videos, and I don't listen to a lot of shows. And when this video come up, it says Rule of Law, West Virginia live stream. And I thought, oh yeah, here we go. And I said, I'll give it three minutes or so. I listened to the first 3 minutes. I'll give it a little bit longer, and I end up watching the whole thing. It's basically 50 minutes long. This is probably the best video on the subject of government and how it operates that I've ever seen. And the gentleman's name is Thomas Deegan, and he's going to come on the show Sunday. So I'm going to put this link in the. Took me a while to track him down, but I got him. And we had a really good talk, and so he's agreed to come on Sunday. So what I'd like everybody to do is, when you get to sometime between now and Sunday, watch the video. Come up with any questions you might have, because I want to get Jules to make sure the lines are open, and I'd like the people to participate, by asking questions and whatnot. He's like a lot of guys. I mean, he's been through the ringer, and he been thrown in jail, and he's studied his ass off, and he's wondering where the men are. And, I did a show before in removing men, and, I went from the rooster angle, how the roosters are supposed to look after the house, not the hens. And today, what I'm finding is a lot more feisty women than I am guys. I don't know what it's about, but we got to pick up the pace. And, Thomas is ticked off. He's having a difficult time understanding how everybody can just keep turning a blind eye at this late day. And so do I. But we had a good chat about, opportunities and whatnot that we can use. But like I told him and several other people that just worked so hard and got fed up, don't just throw your hands up and walk away. This is game on time, and we don't need the brilliant guys walking away right now and being frustrated. But anyways, having said that, this is back to what we were doing today, just cleaning out some closets and that. We used to go to a lot of auctions and whatnot, and I got kind of hooked on these replica tin signs, the advertising signs from way back when. And I found this one today, and I think we need to go find this particular drug. It's called Lasico. And the tin sign here is, and you can find this, if you just put in Superb Manhood or Lasico Superb Manhood, you'll find this. This thing's all over the place because it's a replica. Anyways, it says, "Are you a man in name only?" And it's true, guys. If you are weak in any way, try today Lasico for superb manhood, the old reliable remedy for nervous debility, sexual weakness, failing memory, sleeplessness, and kidney troubles. Price is $1 a box, 6 for 5 postpaid. Small boxes for small size is only 50 cents. And this is Lakeside Medicine Company, Chicago, Illinois. Lasico is sold exclusively by the Hannah and Lay Company out of Traverse City, Michigan, the drug division of the Hannah Lay, because they were in logging originally. It's actually a real company. It's just a replica. So I went and looked at the Hannah and Lay Company, and they got into logging, and then they branched out into a whole bunch of other stuff and made just a gut load of money, I guess. So yeah, we need to man up, big time. So what else is new? Today I phoned. I got the Liberal Party finally came along and put a door hanger on my door for their candidate, and I'd been in their office a couple weeks ago, but I got this door hanger, so I had to give them a shout and ask them to qualify some of this stuff. Because what it says here, it says, "Hi neighbor, I'm Don." And I don't know any Dons that are my neighbors, but that's what it says here. And I'm a volunteer for Alan Thompson, our federal Liberal candidate in Bruce, here in Bruce, in the upcoming 2015 election. And so I just phoned him up, and I said, what is this assumption you guys are making? Like, if you had put in I support, that would be Don, I guess, whose name's on this thing. And he's a volunteer for the federal Liberal candidate. That would have been fine, but he put in our federal Liberal candidate, so they had to do a bit of dancing on that. And then I asked him about the federal Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau. On the back here is a thing. It says, "Canada is a grand unfinished project. It is up to us, together with all Canadians, to build the country that we want." And I talked to the guy at the election office, I says, well, Canada is a great grand unfinished project. Well, that's true. Okay, it's a corporation that hasn't quite reached where it wants to get to. And it's up to us. Well, who is us? Why would we cut our own throats by forwarding the ambitions of the corporation? That makes no sense. And together with all Canadians to build the country that we want. Well, I always say, who the hell is this we? You including me and we? So I phoned up the Federal Elections Office to see if this stuff gets screened by those guys before they put it out, and he didn't think they did. But then I got to asking him about the election itself, and I did this the same in the municipal election, and I get the same answers in the federal election I got in the municipal election, and that is that I go like, who is I have to be a registered voter to vote, right? He goes, yep. And the guy I'm talking to at the Federal Elections Office barely speaks English. I mean, I'm having a hell of a time understanding him. And he wasn't speaking French either, which is the other official language. I don't know where the hell he was from, but he was having a very difficult using the English language, which is unfortunate. And but I went through the whole thing with him again, about how can I vote if only the legal entity can register, or I have to register the legal entity, which means that I can't vote. And we went through all this stuff, the same as a municipal election, and it works out the same way. That what it is a proxy vote. Okay, it's a proxy vote. That's all it is. The people didn't vote. You voted in place of the proxy, or of the corporation that's registered. You registered a corporation to vote, but the corporation can't vote because it can't hold a pen. Okay, so you're just acting as the agent for the registered voter, which is a corporation. But like he said, corporations can't vote, and then they start scrambling around, and so what he told me was that, well, I can complain about it after the election, which is basically what the municipal election people said. So it's all a fraud. It's always been a fraud. I don't care what country you live in, it's a corporation. I don't care who. When you register to vote, you're registering a corporate entity, not you, and therefore you're voting nothing more than the cabinet or the board of directors for the corporation. That's it. But they're continuing to play the game. But it's important that people call these people and just let them know that people are paying attention to them. Now I got a call here. I don't know where it's from exactly, but we'll see if we still got somebody here. If we hook up with somebody. I have no idea who it is or who it might be. Who knows? And it may be nobody.
Hello?
Yeah. Were you trying to call into the show?
The show? Oh, well, are you from that? Yeah, I got that number online. I think you're calling about the Earth video, right? Or anyway. Facebook post.
Yeah, okay, but no, I just saw that you had a call in here, and I just wasn't sure what you were calling about.
Oh, this is 717.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Ron Stevens. This is Game On. This is a radio show on UCY.TV, right?
Oh, yeah.
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 So what's up?
Oh, not much. I thought it was like a chat line or something. I don't know what I was called. Sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you know how many years that the Mopar Fest has been running down at St. Jacob, I forgot what it's called now, in Ontario here? No? Then you don't get the prize. But anyways, you don't have a question or anything like that?
Not at this time. You kind of caught me flat-footed here. Sorry.
Or insights or whatever, no?
I don't know. I think the world could be a better place if.
Where can I ask you where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Northern California. I'm about 20 miles north of Oroville.
Okay.
On
and you're in
70.
California, so you're in the one of the weirder places in the world. And
Weirder?
I don't say that to be derogatory. Well, no, but I mean they signed the United Nations there, and there's an awful lot of stuff comes out of California that seems to creep across the country and up here into Canada and stuff, right? A lot of the like your Enron came and trashed your electrical system down there, right?
Enron did.
Yeah.
Piggy's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. I've seen some videos from down from there. It's the same thing, though. I mean, they just change out their logos and everything. It's still the Enron game, and the Enron game is running well and hard up here in Canada, destroying our electrical system up here. It's like they created the template in California through Enron, and then they just transported it everywhere. Right? They're causing all kinds of problems everywhere for people with electricity.
See, I'm off grid. I've been off grid since '96. I use a generator. I charge deep cycle batteries, inverters. I'm currently expanding a small solar system. I'm hoping to have like 400 to 800, maybe 2 400-watt systems by Christmas.
Yeah, so you're not in town somewhere.
No, I'm isolated. I'm like on a well up in the mountains.
Yeah. And I don't know what they're doing with your wells down here, but they're putting meters on our wells up here. They want everybody off the rural lands and stuck into the towns and the cities where they can control them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, power to anybody that's still. I have a friend that moved out of a town and moved out in the country. Same thing. He's got some animals now, and learned how to do solar panels. Got a generator, all that kind of stuff. And kind of happy out there. He doesn't know how long they're going to let him be out there, but
I'm in that boat. If they really showed up and took a close look at me, they'd probably, I don't know, put me in the funny farm and condemn my property.
Well, that's what they do, right? I mean, they don't want you off grid because then they can't control you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, what we need to do is we need to. Like if you're in town, I've seen instances of this. If you're in town, they're always telling you to save electricity, and all this kind of stuff, and save water. Well, and then people say, well, fine, you're jamming the price up so high I can't afford it. Fine, I'll just go off grid. And when they're in town, the town just comes and condemns their home, right?
Yeah.
So while they're telling you to save electricity, you say, well, wait a minute, I went off grid, so I'm saving electricity. Well, that's not the point. We want you on grid so we can continue to fleece you, right?
Exactly.
It's not really about saving electricity. It's about us fleecing you.
Well, the solar companies, now all the solar companies are required, basically by law, to be hooked into the grid.
Right.
So they don't even want people to put their own power supplies in.
No, they don't, because if they they have all kinds of companies now where they'll come in and put solar panels all over your house, right, and hook you into the grid and sell you the program that whatever you don't use will be fed out the grid, and then you'll get a paycheck for it. It'll offset your cost of hydro, but all they're doing is continually jamming the price of it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that what's not sustainable is private property, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
they want to control.
That's all it's about. It's all it's ever been about is control, and it's control from outside of our countries, right?
Exactly.
And that's the real kicker. Our politicians and people are doing the bidding of a group of criminals who don't even have a country. And we're doing their bidding for them. I mean, this is over the top. So,
Yeah,
I ran into Arnold Schwarzenegger in something I was doing the other week, up to his eyeballs in this stuff. But then he's just one end of, they're all up to their eyeballs in it. On one hand, they're waving the flag. On the other hand, they got a knife up against your throat.
Well, Governor Brown just is getting ready to confiscate, I think, 400 farms, so he can put in some water tunnels to ship our water down to Southern California.
Right, right, and this is what's going on everywhere, right? They come up with this water shortage thing, and then you have to give up your water rights, you have to give up your land rights, and but they don't want you eating either, right? So if we can get the farms shut down, they want to come up with this bioeconomy thing, which they control, and they want to grow the farm food in the city, not on the farm. They want everybody off the farm and into the city. It's the old story. If you like where you are, you probably grow a lot of your own food. And that I know my friend is about 95% of his food comes from the farm, right?
Yeah.
And so that's no good either, because they control the food, control the people, control the fuel, control the nation, right? And as long as you control your own food, well, you have control over your own life. And
right.
They really, I don't know why they have a problem with that, but they really don't like that idea.
No, because like you said, then you're not under their thumb if you're independent.
Right. So, we should just pick a state, maybe. What state in the United States got very few people living in it?
Probably Nevada.
Nevada? Then we should
but it's mostly desert.
Well, that's where they deserve to be, is in the desert. We just round all these guys up and build a building or build some kind of a compound out there and stick all these people that are screwing everybody else's life up and just put them there and say, when you recant or whatever, when you decide you can be, a good little boy or girl and not bother other people in their lives, we'll let you out. Till then, stay put. I don't want to be rude to them. I actually hear, I said, you know what, they're always looking for tourist attractions up here along the lake, right? So tourist attractions, because it is on a beautiful beach and that, so what do? They put a whole bunch of windmills up and say that'll attract tourists. The tourists come up and go, what the hell is that mess? And we do have a big, I think it's the world's biggest nuclear plant or something here on the lake. And so I guess the next tourist attraction is they're going to bury nuclear waste right on the lake shore. That should bring the tourists up. My suggestion to the council up here was, instead of doing that, why don't we just, the old stocks from the old, old England or wherever, the old stocks you put people at Town Square. And I said, why don't we just get some of those and plant them around town, and then we'll just take the politicians and we'll put them in and we'll sell tomatoes for like $5 a pop. We'll make a fortune. And we'll bring tourists in from everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
People drive a long ways to chuck a tomato at a politician. Anyways, I got, what time is it here? This is only an hour long. I'm gonna let you go. Okay, I appreciate you calling in. I just want to touch on a couple other things here before we get done today. And
okay.
And if you know how to get to UCY radio, obviously, because you got the phone number there, right?
Yeah.
I have Thomas Deacon coming on Sunday show at noon Eastern time, and you should tune into that thing or look him up on his. I put a link in the chat there to his video. This guy's got his act together, and so he's going to be on Sunday. Worth listening to that show for sure.
One of the drawbacks to my energy situation.
I know. I know.
I like right now, all my power is off.
Yeah.
There's nothing on standby unless it's on a individual, battery setup.
Right.
So I have to be disciplined that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. My friend has the same problem. It's one of the downsides of, but once you get used to how it's running, they had a little problem with it at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now they got everything set up, and they know when their energy, so they know when they can and can't do what they can do with energy and that. Then they work around it now, right?
Right.
So it gets easier for you.
But but not having the power, I've been hanging out with this praying mantis for the last 3 days and watching my trees grow. I don't know what's going on. The praying mantis is gray.
Yeah.
I guess he's getting ready to molt and just hanging out.
Yeah. So him, and apparently I hear a dog, I think. You, him, and the dog just hanging out, right?
Yeah, that's chilly.
You shouldn't be stuck in traffic every day, and you shouldn't be stressed out every day. That's not what life's about, right? Like, I know Doug's a lot happier camper out since they went off grid and that, right? It's a different lifestyle, but he's freaking happy. He gets to chill out, and he gets to think, and he gets to do what he wants to do, more or less. And yeah, it's a much better. It's a much more pleasant life, I think. I
get a whole lot less indigestion.
No doubt. Okay, I'll let you go. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. You guys have a nice day, and thank you.
Yeah, you be cool over there in California. Be good.
All right, man. Later.
Take care. Yeah. Well, that was nice. Anyways, what I wanted to get to here, because I haven't been there a while, and it's the UNPA. We talk about Rockefeller, and we talk about all these other things on other shows, but this here, I'm going to drop this in. I want people to spend some time rooting around on this thing. And it's the UNPA, which is the United Nations Parliamentary Assembly, and they're really pushing now. This has been around a lot of years, and very few people know about it or have heard about it, and I just thought it was time to bring it back up again. And it's bringing in the the world government, basically, through the United Nations. It's the revamping the United Nations. Up until this point, the United Nations, because every country has signed on to the United Nations, making them a state of the United Nations, and while the United Nations doesn't have any teeth, that's what they always say. Oh, the United Nations, they don't have any teeth, don't worry about them. Well, yeah, but the whole system has been set up through suggestion. Okay, so the United Nations bodies, and there's a gazillion of them, make suggestions to different government agencies and different systems, and say, wouldn't it be a good idea if? Then they have the template, and then it ends up that your local government, state government, and federal governments are implementing this stuff on behalf of the United Nations, of which they are a state of. So now the push is on to revamp the United Nations so that it does have teeth, so that it does have a legislature, so that it can write policy and law on a global scale. And the next push is to give people a vote. Well, the United Nations is not a nation, and it's not a country. And the problem we've run into through the years is that what they've done is they've tried to make all countries the same and all peoples the same. And that doesn't work. It never did work. It never will work. But they keep plugging away at it because they want total control over everything. What is this? The European Parliament that I have up here in 2013, the Declaration of Brussels toward a democratic and equitable international order. So I need you guys to just kind of root around in here. As far as Canada is concerned, I haven't really gone through the United States part of it too much, but when we go through, there's a link down here that says by countries. You go through that in Canada, you will find the Senate, you will find, let's see, the Bloc, Gilles Duceppe is involved in it. Jack Layton from NDP was involved in it. Elizabeth May is involved in it. Justin Trudeau is involved in it. Some past prime ministers are involved in it. Doesn't matter what party they're involved in it. And if you go to the Canadian full list, you will find Club of Rome members. You will find World Federalist members of Canada. And I'm sure you'll find the same thing in the United States. And these people are all pushing for the world government or the revamping of the United Nations into a workable world government, not just a body that gives suggestions. And that will be the world government. And, if you have people from, you have Canada and the United States, two, big landmass countries, comparatively few people in them. The European Union, which is 28 countries, little countries like Portugal and Spain and that, France, Germany, much, much smaller than the United States, but their population is far greater than the United States. So when you have these votes coming in, we're going to get outvoted every time. Okay, so if a vote went through that cars hurt the environment, and there's a bunch of countries that don't have personal cars, how are you going to make out on that vote? You're not. You're going to lose, and that's the importance of hanging on to our countries. We got to get back to our countries. We got to get out of the corporate structure and get back to the country, which is the people. The people here have no say on anything that's going on. Absolutely none. Your elections are all fraudulent. Your politicians are all traitors to the people, really, because treason is just basically a breach of trust, and they have mightily breached the trust. So we got to do that. Now, this is kind of a weird little site to get around in. I see there was a lot of, okay, here it is here. Now, there's been a lot of internet play, at least, about Iceland and about the bankers and they're arresting bankers and all that kind of stuff. And we need to follow Iceland. Well, some never sat right with me with that, because most of these things that happen are happening for a reason. It's usually the dark side reason. And so now here we see, and this is the 11th of March 2015, so it's not that long ago, it's this spring, the Parliament of Iceland to discuss support for a UN Parliamentary Assembly. The draft resolution introduced. The Parliament of Iceland is going to deal with the establishment of United Nations Parliamentary Assembly. A resolution supporting the efforts for such a new UN body of elected delegates was introduced last week by former Minister of the Interior, Johansson. If adopted, the Icelandic government would be called on to present the proposal to the United Nations and its Secretary General, according to Mr. Johansson. It is in the interest of all nations, small and large alike, to make the UN function more democratically. States, especially large and powerful states, may resist this, but the people, irrespective of statehood, want their voice to be heard. That is why I believe that in the years that come, there will be increased popular support for a creation of a parliamentary assembly at the United Nations. My proposal in the Parliament of Iceland is a contribution to the struggle to democratize the UN. The international appeal for a UN Parliamentary Assembly so far has been endorsed by more than 1,400 former and sitting members of Parliament from over 100 countries. The most recent supporter whose signature was received today, I can't pronounce his name, a vice president of the European Parliament. 4 years ago, the European Parliament adopted a supportive resolution. The Icelandic Parliament has not yet determined when the draft bill will be debated, but this is going on in countries all around the world, and people don't hear about it. They don't know about it. Now, from there, we also have, I think it is the steering committee for this. It's in the links there. We have the Committee for Democratic United Nations, Democracia Global, a Society for Threatened Peoples International, the World Federalist Movement, and 2020 Vision Limited. Now, if you go through some of this stuff, you will find, the World Federalist, if you don't know who they are, you need to know who they are. Walter Cronkite got an award from the World Federalist. And he thanked, that was a really weird video, it's on my blog somewhere. If you just put in Walter Cronkite at canadiantruths.wordpress.com, you'll come up with it. This was the man that you could trust in news. That was his whole career. And after he retired, he got the Norman Cousins World Federalist Award. And he said he could speak his mind now that he was retired, and he would say what's on his mind. And at that acceptance of that award, he voiced how proud he is to sit at the side of Satan. And that's the man you can trust in news. But this is what we're into, like this is a law. It's about law, and it's about spiritual. It's about faith. And basically, the United Nations is about the most ungodly outfit you're ever going to run into, and they don't particularly like a lot of people other than themselves. So anyways, we also have the International Coalition for the Responsibility to Protect, which is another arm of this thing. And I just bring that up because down here near the bottom, where did that go? Okay, here it is here. The Canadian Centre for Responsibility to Protect held a panel on 29th of March 2014 called From the Rwandan Genocide to R&P, A Journey of Lessons Learned. Now, anybody that looked at the Rwanda genocide, that has all the stink on it that you could possibly put on it of a setup, or what would you call an inside job or whatever. Okay, they don't give a shit excuse my language, how many people they sacrifice to get to their goal line. I mean, they run the 2 world wars and every other war in between, and after. So they have no problem going into a small country like that and pulling off a genocide in order to have a problem that needs to be fixed. That's what these guys are always about. Get a problem. If there isn't a problem, create a problem. And then use that problem as a reason we have to do something else so the problem won't happen again. Anyways, in 2013, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright and former presidential special envoy to Sudan, Richard S. Williamson, authored a report titled The United States and the R2P, From Words to Actions, the findings of the working group on the responsibility to protect, of which Albright and Williamson are co-chairs and organized by United States Institute of Peace, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and the Brookings Institution were used in the report's assessment of R2P. The report recognized the challenge to implementation that RP faces politically, institutionally, and operationally. It underscored the need for policymakers to expand their tool sets by emphasizing the pertinence of closing the gap between mass atrocity warning and the effective response. The report states, asserting that nothing realistic can be done to stop mass atrocity makes such violations more likely, and concludes by offering realistic recommendations to strengthen the R2P. These recommendations range from rhetorical and diplomatic measures, such as clarifying U.S. support for all R2P's pillars, working with other states in this process, developing modern technology to achieve R2P's aims. The report also serves the overall purpose of reminding the audience that R2P primary function and prevention. The Montreal Institute for Genocide and Human Rights Studies in June 2013, MIGS, held a 3-day professional training program on mass atrocity prevention. So I want to throw that in, I think, as well into the link or into the chat. This I got from one of the links off of where did this go here? One of the links from the UNPA. Everybody's involved in this garbage, right? If I go down, I went and took a quick boo at Madeleine Albright here. That's enough to curl your freaking toes. I mean, if you go look up the history of Madeleine Albright, she's hooked up with Madeleine Albright is co-investor with Jacob Rothschild, 4th Baron Rothschild, and George Soros in a $350 million investment vehicle called Helios Towers Africa, which intends to buy or build 1,000 mobile phone towers in Africa. Okay. You really need to look this lady up, but this is, I was thinking about this quickly today. You know, people don't look up names and research them. I'm sure when someone comes into a government position, and she was right up at the top, she couldn't run for president because she wasn't American born, but she's involved in a whole pile of stuff. But people say, you know, they say, "Oh, just you stick with her for a minute," you know. Madeleine Albright, new Secretary of State, is I think what she was at some point, and people go, "Oh, well, that's that new Secretary of State," you know, and they never go and look into who this is or where they came from or what they're up to. Right? We just hear it, or we don't hear it. Oh yeah, that's that Madeleine Albright person, or whoever. Just pick a name, and that's what we do. And if we just took the time to breeze through the history of these people, we might be going, what are they doing there? But we don't seem to want to do that. And that's one of the reasons we got to where we are right now. We have to just pay a little bit more attention to it. Anyways, what I really like, I'm going to go stick that in again, just in case somebody's not in the chat that was before when I put this in. I'm going to dump this video in one more time. I am really looking forward to talking to this guy on air. And I hope we can bring a couple of, or at least one of his cohorts in here, who's a much older gentleman. I think Thomas is still in his 30s. And the other gentleman has been at this for many, many years. And hopefully we can get both in. But if not, but listen to the video by all means. And you know, if you have any questions, I'm very critical. And this guy is one of the guys that's been through all the nonsense. He's been through, you know, like Occupy and Tea Parties and all that, because he cares about his country, only to find out these things are all controlled opposition or straight disinformation. And, you know, because they're saying what you want to hear. But he took the time to investigate all of this stuff, and he's finally come out the other end with an absolutely concise, absolutely clear understanding of what's going on. And that's rare. So I'm going to be a very happy camper come Sunday, and we'll deal with that. Anyways, I want to do a little more on the UNPA, but you guys can look through that yourselves and maybe give some of these people a call. That's always helpful. And just let them know that you know what the hell they're up to. Because when you're voting here in Canada, you're voting for the demise of what you thought was your country, and you're voting for acceptance of a world government through the United Nations. And the same thing in the United States. The same thing's going on there. And you have your vote next to you. So it's time to get stuff. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for listening. And we'll be back Thursday. And see what we talk about. Okay? I want to thank you for setting up the network. And if you got a topic you want to talk about, let me know about it. Okay? Feel free to say everything. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, they burn the kids. No one